warrants for your arrest. So that you know. We have to read you your advice of rights, okay?
On January the 31st, 2018, Marla, a 65-year-old mother, and her son Rishi, who was 32, were found dead in their house in Northern Virginia. You are viewing now the official body cam footage from when the police entered the house.
Hey. Oh, let me just hold here. Let me clear it around the corner here. I'm coming through. Sheriff's office! Alright, I gotta check this pantry back here. Alright. You want to do basement first? Basement upstairs first. Alright. Need this. We're getting here. Did you guys finish up here?
No.
Yeah.
Alright, someone's in the basement. And the front side of the cars here, you see it.
Police say they responded to the house after a co-worker of Marla said she did not show up for work that week. Testimony during the trial presented to the court provided that Welsh was with Rishi on January the 29th and that Brian K. Welsh, the suspect in this interrogation, owed Rishi money for a narcotics transaction. Now, as you can see, this case was given to me on 9 separate CDs. Unfortunately, I learnt that it is part video and then part only audio. Normally, all my interrogations are in video. This just happens to be in 2 parts. Just so you know, in February of 2021, after a 16-day trial, Brian was found to be guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of using a firearm as a felon.
Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. If you remain silent, your silence cannot be used against you in court. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to consult with a lawyer and to have the lawyer with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you by the state. If you decide to answer any questions without a lawyer present, you will have the right to stop answering at any time. Can you do your initial? All those things that I just read to you. Need you to read that down there. Sign, print and sign your name.
If I do want a lawyer at this time.
That is your right. So you're saying you don't want to talk to us and you'd rather talk to an attorney?
I don't know. So wait, what am I being charged? What am I warrants for arrest for?
So I'll read you the warrants. I just need to know if you're willing to talk to us. And again, at any time you can stop. But if you're willing to talk to us now and we start reading and we start talking about stuff, that's your option.
That's kind
This form just advises you of your rights,
Mm-hmm.
that you understand your rights.
So I can stop talking anytime and say I want to order.
Yes. So do you remember when you came in here at the end of February and you talked to myself and Detective Grimsley? Do you remember that? The day we gave you the laptop? We returned it to you. Okay. Do you remember what he had said to you?
No.
Different conversations and stuff that we were going to be sending stuff to the lab.
Sure.
Okay. Do you remember what he said?
Something about forensic DNA testing. Something along those lines.
Okay. So he had told you clearly we had sent evidence from the homicide to the lab, right? And he said clearly this was your chance. We wanted to talk to you. We wanted to hear your side of the story, hear what happened that day. But if evidence comes back from the lab with any type of DNA or any other type of evidence pointing towards you, the conversations would be a little different. Okay. Do you remember that?
Sure.
Okay. So we got a phone call today from the lab. And we have evidence now linking you to the homicides.
What is that?
Shell casings and the gun.
The gun and shell casings.
Mm-hmm. A gun you had that day on you, the day of the homicide, and shell casings that were found at the scene after Rishi and Mala were killed.
And the shell casings had my DNA.
They came from your gun,
What gun is this?
a Browning 22.
That's not my gun.
That's not your gun. Whose gun is it?
That would be my father's gun.
Okay. And you had it in your possession?
At one point.
Okay. When did you have it in your possession? Okay. When did you have that in your possession?
I can't remember the exact dates.
Well, I can tell you one day you had it in your possession,
Which was,
January 29th.
I assume that was the day that Rishi did Monday.
Yes. We know you had it in your possession.
Okay.
So the day we believe that they're killed, you had the gun that killed them.
I didn't carry it then. So
What do you mean you don't carry a gun?
I had no reason to have a gun with me. I sold was getting rid of all of my guns. I had like an arsenal of guns that I got from my father, from whatever, and sold almost all of them.
You sold them all except for the Browning.
No one of the grinders were like $45.
But the point being, it was in your possession the day they were killed.
There are ballistics for this gun showing that it was the gun used to kill Rishi's mother.
Yes. This isn't us examining the gun. It isn't me or Detective Perry. This was sent to the lab.
I would love to see those results. I guess I need to hear them. Look, I'm not a violent person. I have 3 children I take care of, and I'll stay home life. I have no history of anything. Why the hell would I kill Rishi and his mother? He was my friend / drug dealer, but they were both very nice people, and I would have no reason, no motive to hurt either of them. I mean, I am not a violent person. I've never done anything. I have any record. Why the hell would I kill Rishi, who was not only my friend, but a good person, and his mother, who had already been through enough shit in her life?
Stuff. I'm not here to jam you up. I'm not here to take you off to jail. I'm not here to do any of that. All right? But we're trying, you know what we're investigating. You know why we keep talking to you. You were potentially the last person that was seen with Rishi on the 29th. So we need you to be honest with us, okay? And give us all the information that you have. And I'm not saying that you haven't, but with your wife being at the house on Saturday, and then again at the house yesterday with your kids running back and forth, there's probably some information that you withheld from, because you probably didn't want them to hear about it, or hear about you spending stuff or buying stuff you shouldn't have been buying. So we need to go through. I want to sit down, and that's why I wanted to do it here, so we're out of your house, and you feel free. This is an open conversation, and you can feel comfortable with telling us everything you can. And just like the other people we've spoken to, we're not here to jam you up. We're not going to go get warrants for your drug use or anything like that. We're here for one sole purpose, and that is to figure out what the hell happened to your friend. Okay? And then I have a couple questions that I want to follow up with you about. Okay? And that's it. We'll take it from there. So I already know from talking to you that you were at Rishi's house on the 29th. You guys went to the bank. Okay?
And I was there the night before, too.
Right. Let's cover what I want to cover first, and then we'll get to that. So you go to the bank on the 29th. What was your purpose of going to the bank?
I was riding with Rishi.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos was owed Rishi money.
Mm-hmm.
If that's Carlos' name, Carlos owed Rishi money. I actually really had nothing to do. I was waiting to go pick up my kids from my in-laws, which is where I went after I left Rishi's. They live off of West Oxford in Oak Hill. So we went. I got to Rishi's right at about 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos showed up pretty much at the exact same time. I had parked on the side of the street, and Carlos parked right in front of the driveway by his mailbox.
So you parked along the side,
Yeah,
and Carlos parked there?
right in front of his house, and right by the mailbox.
Who went into the house first?
Carlos went in first.
Okay. And then you followed?
Yeah, and Carlos went through the front door. I went to the basement because that's where Rishi always told me, because that's, I guess, his little cave room basement.
So Carlos went to the front and you went to the back? And you were over there just to hang out?
No, he owed me, on the night prior, he had asked if he could borrow $600.
And did you ask him what the $600 was for?
I know it was for. It was for him because he had to, whoever he got his 30 milligram oxys from would front him like however many at a time. I don't know.
So
I don't know how many ever, anywhere from 50 to.
So on Sunday you fronted him $600.
Yeah.
And the $600 was to pay back somebody?
It was to pay whoever he gets the blues from. Carlos was there. I'm pretty sure he bought Adderall from Rishi
So you seen the transaction?
Yeah.
So your intention on Monday was to hang out with Rishi,
No, he was supposed to give me money back.
right?
He went Sunday night. He was supposed to have gone to do whatever he needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he said I could come by first thing Monday morning,
Mm-hmm.
and he would pay me back. So I was waiting around. I didn't. All three of my kids were at my in-laws. So right at about 9:45, Rishi said, "Okay, let's go to the bank," and we were deciding if we're all going to go together or separately or whatever. And I said I didn't really have. I had time to kill, so I would just ride with Rishi.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlos said he had to get somewhere, so he took his own car. So we all got to the bank right before 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got out of the car. We took some weird back way to the bank we beat Carlos there by like 5 minutes. Rishi said he was going to go to 7-Eleven and get cigarettes and frappuccinos, and said we'd go see if the bank was open. So I got out, and the bank was not open yet. He pulled in out of around 7-Eleven to the right side of Bank of America. I went back to his car. Carlos pulled up 10 seconds later, and I said, the bank's not open yet. We smoked a cigarette. I started drinking my Frappuccino. They were bullshitting. I was looking on my phone for job hunting, and Carlos went into the bank. Came back out a couple minutes later, gave Rishi a wad of cash. I'm not sure how much. Carlos said he had to go. Rishi said that he had to go. So Carlos left. I don't know, wherever he had to go. Rishi and I went back to his house. He said he got a phone call from his guy, whoever his guy is, and said he needed.
So the phone call was after the bank?
He had a couple of phone calls. He's always getting phone calls. He's getting phone calls all the time on his burner. He got a phone call before we left, or he was on the phone. I can't remember if he made the call or if the call came in, but he was talking to his guy saying that he was coming to meet him or whatever. They were supposed to meet up sometime. So when we got back to Rishi's house, he gave me the $600 back. But then he asked me if he could borrow. He went in his bedroom. I never left his living room area, his couch and little table in his basement. And he came out of his bedroom and gave me $600 bills and asked that he started counting a stack of cash he had and said he was $200 short. And asked if he could borrow $200. And I said, no, my wife will kill me.
Right.
And he's like, all right, it's fine. I'll figure it out. And he's like, said something along the lines of, I've been short before and whatever. I'll make it work. Is what he always said. Whatever. I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. I told him the one time where I guess he was short. So before he actually got a job at Amazon, I mean, that's what he'd been doing since his brother, I guess, passed away, was selling drugs. I just met Rishi 8 months ago, I guess, or so, through my friend Kaylin. And okay, So I said I couldn't give him the $200. My wife called or texted, like, both actually, and she said, "Can you go pick up the kids when you on your way home?"
What time was that
It was like right before 11, because I texted my mother-in-law saying I'd be there before noon, and I got to their house at like 11:15 or 11:20. So Rishi, I left through the back like always, and I said, "I'll hit you up later." He said, "Okay." He said he was going to. Oh, he had a box with him that he said he needed to mail something, and he said he had to go to Home Depot. And he said, "Do you want to come?" And I said, "No, I gotta go get my kids and bring them home, or my wife's gonna be my ass." So I left, gave him 5, said, "Catch you later, I'll hit you up." And he said he was gonna be in the hospital, probably sleeping there again, stay with his dad. That's the last time that I saw him, and I texted him that later that afternoon.
What number did you text him on?
Whatever knew his phone. We had just gone to the mall the previous day together to the Apple store to get his new phone, because his iPhone had been broken.
Mm-hmm. And that's the text message back here?
Yeah. You can scroll through this.
Yeah, because you got a lot of text messages and stuff with him. Is there any deleted messages with him? That might be helpful. It's possible.
I had to definitely delete text messages between
To hide
us.
stuff from your wife?
Yeah.
What?
So okay. So I had.
He's gonna
Okay,
hear it
okay.
after.
The reason that I'm asking is a lot of times those messages that are deleted, we can recover them. And I can do that now while we're talking if you allow me to dump your phone.
And here's the thing. We're not, whatever we find in there is to help us with our homicide investigation.
I mean,
it's not to jam you up.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I'll do whatever.
Are you okay with that?
I mean, I want you guys to help. I want to help do whatever. So sure. I mean,
how much battery do you have?
Is
65%.
Is yours locked or anything? Is it a key code?
Yeah, my thumbprinter.
Can you disable that long enough? Turn it back on when I bring it back to you. Is that your main phone?
Yeah, it's my own phone.
Do you have a burner phone?
Yeah. Not a.
You can keep it credit cards.
Yeah.
I don't need those. I'm trying to disable that thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it is. just tell you my code? Can I just tell you the code?
Oh, you can do the PIN number too.
Oh, here, just
4614.
I just wait. Yeah, it's 4614.
Okay, that's good. That's fine. I'll get it back to you soon.
So let's go back to Carlos. So I'm going to be honest with you, man. I spoke to Carlos, and Carlos says that he's seen me before at Rishi's house. And that wasn't the first time we've all
Yeah,
seen each other.
no, I don't think it was the first time that I saw Carlos. It was maybe like the third, fourth time, possibly.
Do you know Ronald DeAngelis?
It's the weird coincidences that I had.
Lives in Alexandria.
I don't know any wrong.
What were you buying from Rishi?
He wasn't out.
Be honest, man.
Please.
Okay. Like frequently?
Well, I had. Yeah, I have legitimate. I blew up my back.
Dude, I'm not worried about that. I just
Yeah.
want to know what the frequency is. Like, how often were you over there buying stuff? How much were you buying at a time? Was it a lot?
Like 5 or 10.
5 to 10 at a time? And how much are you paying for those?
45.
A piece? A pill?
Yeah.
And we're not going to go back and tell your wife any of this. So
She had already found out. They saw like that's she.
whatever we're talking about
Yeah.
here is between us. I mean, I'm not going to call your wife and say, hey, guess what? You know, Brian told me. I mean, so, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get you out of the house.
Yeah,
So
I
you
actually.
can open up to us and explain everything to us.
Her and I had a coming clean of how I fucked up
Now,
because we had a separate savings account that was from my 401k from the job that I had for like most of my career, 10 years. And she didn't know that I wasn't supposed to touch that part of our savings.
yeah.
And I spent like 18 grand. I went from
How
like
long at a time?
$28,000 to $6,000.
So you spent $18,000. How long? How short of a time you spent?
Like a year.
All on blues.
Yeah.
Blues are OCs.
They're just a 30 milligram oxycodone.
You have no idea where he was getting this stuff from.
No, he wouldn't ever tell. He was very secretive about who his guy was. And so when I was like, this is weird coincidences, I was like, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it occurred to me that I'm not a Facebooker. I love Instagram for some reason. So I don't go on Facebook very much. And after you guys left the last time, I went on Facebook. Yeah. And I saw that we had 3 people that we were connected with.
Uh-huh.
One was Caitlin, how I met him.
Yeah.
The other one was an old coworker of mine, Anthony Kim, who worked at Front Point Security with me for 2 years. And the other one was Jessica DePel. Her last name is now Kott. Kott.
Hold on, so Caitlin McCarthy, who's the other dude?
Anthony Kim.
Ken?
Yep.
And then what's the other girl?
Jessica Cott. Kott is her new married name.
Okay.
So I reached out. It was just so weird because I was actually reaching out to Tony Anthony because I wanted to use him as a work reference.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that he was friends with Rishi, I just made something to text you saying like, I was like, how did you? I was like, this is crazy. How do you know Rishi? I was like, I'm gonna call you. So we talked, and when we worked at Front Point, that's when I had my back surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I started having an addiction to pain opiates. And I had one of our other coworkers. He was someone who was an ex-Marine who was also was an opiate who'd gone through rehab and stuff. And he had asked Tony one time if he could get stuff. And Tony actually, in the text message that he sent, he's like, that's who I would have gotten them from. If he actually said, do you remember the time that I got you them? But I don't think he actually ever got them for me. If he did, he got them for the guy Ben, because he always told me that he wouldn't get them for me. So I think he just was remembering Ben getting them. But it's just very weird coincidence that. So they were friends from high school, I guess. And I guess he had seen him last, he said, about a year ago.
Anthony seen Rishi about a year ago?
Yeah. And I asked Anthony about Carlos, and I asked him about the guy who was always sleeping on his floor. He said he thought his name was Tim, and he said Tim and Carlos were both like old friends, good friends of Rishi's. And that's who when I brought up a guy sleeping on Rishi's floor, and he said it's a tall, lanky white guy. And I was talking about the white truck. He said that Carlos, and if that was it, and if Tim was this guy, that they were like old school friends from their old crew in high school.
So on Monday, you never went with Rishi to Home Depot? Or?
I left and went. He said he's going to do his thing, and I went and picked up my kids, and I went home.
Was Caitlin buying stuff from Rishi?
Caitlin and Rishi had their own. I mean, they've known each other for years and years. Caitlin never had a job, so I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know what exactly they did together. If they like swapped things or bought things from each other.
Swap things.
Yeah, like because they both had doctors they went to. Like Rishi, she got a ton of Adderall but he didn't take it. He said he hardly ever took it. He pretty much sold all. But those were scripts that he got from an actual doctor. The blues he was getting from whoever. I mean, me and Caitlin were trying to figure out. And like I said, that's when she said, you told me you guys talked to Jeremy, right, in jail. And if anyone, we thought that Jeremy would know who it was.
How often do you talk to Caitlin?
I haven't talked to her much. Like,
did you talk to her on Monday?
I don't know. I can't remember.
And you don't know who this Ronald that is?
I've never heard of Ronald.
The 703-300 phone number? What's your wife's phone number?
703-362-3604.
And is your dad's name Robert Welsh? Okay. So you have no idea who this Ronald D'Angelis is? Did Rishi ever use your phone to make phone calls? Did you ever make phone calls on Rishi's behalf?
No.
If Rishi didn't have any blues, would he ever point you into somebody that he knew that would have stuff? Or did he always have stuff?
He pretty much always did. Whoever was getting them from was going like he was going somewhere all like constantly. He's like every other day Rishi was going back and forth with this guy.
And you know that how?
Because Rishi told me. And he'd always call me and ask if I needed any.
So he was making runs every other day?
I mean, yeah, it was like, yeah, every 2, 3 days, he was running back and forth. Like,
Got to re-up the supply?
Yeah.
How much was he buying at a time?
He was getting them. He told me that the guy was fronting to him because whoever it is someone who was friends with his brother. And the couple times that he came out short, and it was because he was doing them too, that the guy was leaning on him because he was old school friends with his brother. There were a couple of times where I told you he had like a big ass mark on his forehead on the side of his face that he said was rug burn, getting pulled by his dog, which sounded like bullshit, and it looked like he got fucking hit with something. And he said, "No, I fell." He said, "Callie pulled me, I tripped or something." It was rug burn. But I didn't push it or ask anything more. But
how was he acting on Monday?
he was acting nervous, and he was really fucked up on that he had a thing for Xanax, and was like I didn't realize he was that screwed up when I got in the car with him, and I was actually a little nervous driving with him, and he seemed like, I mean, he was all fucked up because of his dad, and he just got fired from Amazon, and he was not in a good state, and he was like, I don't know, he was irritable, and he was...
Was he treating you like shit?
No, he never treated me like shit. He was always...
Did he ever yell at you?
I don't know, we clicked for some reason.
Did he ever treat Carlos like shit?
I don't know if I treat anyone like shit. I mean, he was like, actually, like, super nice. He was like one of the nicest. No, he never treated anyone. I never saw him, like, yell. And he'd like, not direct his anger towards anyone.
Was there ever a conversation on Monday where either you asked Rishi, hey, did you call your boy? Or Rishi asked you, did you make contact with your boy?
I mean, he was talking. I'm pretty sure that's who he was talking to. And he was saying that he was going to meet him.
Was it directed to you?
No. It was when he was on the phone. He was like saying, "I'm coming," or "I'll be there soon. I'll be there within an hour."
But he never asked you, "Hey Brian, did you make contact with so and so?" Or you asked, "Hey Rishi, did you make contact with so and so?"
I mean, I never got he would tell me if he would text me or call me and say, do you stuff?
Say that again.
He would text or call me and ask like if I needed any leaves.
Right. But he never told you where he was going to get this stuff.
Like, it was always when I was telling you where I meet him.
Where you would meet him.
Yeah, where. So he hated driving. He was just, I guess he just hated going out. So I'd almost always go to his house to get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was on his way, it was usually late at night, like 10 later in the night, that he said he called me coming from his guy's place, and he say, if you don't want to come over to my house, I'll meet you at that hotel where that Cracker Barrel is off 28.
On which side? The side of the gas station or the other side?
The other side.
Cracker Barrel side.
Yeah, like in that hotel parking lot.
And how often was this? How often would you meet him over at this hotel?
I'd say less than a dozen that we actually would meet.
When's the last time you met him?
I can't remember.
Did he say where? Was he coming north on 28 or was he going south on 28? Why was that area convenient? Did you ever ask? Like, hey,
Because he said, I'm coming back from picking up. And that was the way he was driving home, was going from wherever, coming from that way on 28. And since my house is off Frying Pan, he would ask me to meet him there because that was on his way back to his house from wherever he was meeting his guy.
You don't know where it was that he was coming from? And you know, and he would, I'm assuming, or do you know if he's going to the guy's house? Or is he meeting the guy?
I thought he was going to dude's house. I mean, it sounded like it was someone he was like. I mean, obviously he can do it for a long time, and then he said he was old school friend with his brother.
I feel like you're holding back a little bit, man.
I'm
All right, listen, don't just relax, all right? I get it. I completely get it. All right? Sounds like some of these cats that Rishi was dealing with are some bad dudes. All right?
That's like my friend Jeremy said.
You know the most about Rishi's business. Okay? And I think there's a little more. And I understand if you're hesitant to give it up.
I was telling him, the biggest thing was that I spent a fucking shitload of my savings, me and my wife's savings, and she found out because I spent, what did I say, 18 grand in about a year, and one of my coworkers, she's a receptionist. She just had. She's had knee surgery, she had a hernia, and she told me she was a month late on her rent. So I pulled out $1,000 from my savings to give to her to pay for her rent. And that put me over the 6 withdrawals you can make from a savings account in a month. for whatever government regulations. And my wife got an email from the bank saying that, and she said it had to do with withdrawing savings money from our savings account. And I had to tell her, I fucking spent $18,000 of our savings on, and that didn't go very well. But I mean, with Rishi, everything that I know, I told you. I bought a shitload of blues from him. Like, fucked up my jobs, did my kids, but I mean, I don't know. I can't think of anyone or no. I mean, I reached out to like everyone. I found out. I was talking to Jessica and Tony, and Tony told me that there was a lot of really bad guys that. I mean, Caitlin said it too. That there was a couple of really creepy guys that they saw Rishi with that were like, "Why are you dealing?" Because he was just nice. He was like, I mean, for someone who's a drug dealer, he wasn't like he wasn't like a bad guy. He was like a good guy.
So that $18,000 that you spent for yourself, was that all for? Did you pay Rishi that?
I mean,
is that who you bought it from? All of it?
No, some of it was from Caitlin's boyfriend, Jeremy Vaughn, who is in jail.
You bought from him?
You bought from Jeremy? Prior to Rishi? Or like
that's how I met Rishi. This was at Jeremy's house.
So where was Jeremy getting his stuff from? Rishi?
No, there was. I don't know. No, they actually had one of the first when I first met Rishi. Jeremy and Rishi had a falling. Like Jeremy got mad because he thought Rishi was stealing me as a customer and taking away his profit. And Jeremy he set himself on fire, spraying some shit in his basement.
Because of that?
No, he was.
Or was it an accident?
It was an accident. He was spraying that kills stuff to steal some crack, and it was in where the water heater was in the basement, and he was in the Washington Burn Center. And I was at his house to pick Caitlin up to take her, and it was taking her forever, like literally 8 hours, because she was all fucked up too, and she was like, on a bunch of Xanax. And that's when she called Rishi over, because I said I couldn't. I was like, it's going to be too late. I'm not going to drive her into DC after rush hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time that I met Rishi. And Rishi and I, like, we ended up sitting out there for like hours. Like, we smoked a pack of cigarettes. That the first day we met, like waiting around for Caitlin to get her shit together.
How the hell did you get on a conversation with Phyllis? Or how did you figure out who was selling?
Who?
Rishi.
Oh, that's actually how. That's why Caitlin called Rishi over. Jeremy was in the hospital, and Jeremy is someone who is an opiate addict too, and whoever he was getting shit from There's a lady in DC. Rita, same as his mother's name. And that's who Jeremy was getting shit from.
So Jeremy was buying pills from some lady in DC.
He had a doctor that he was going to, so he got his own strip, and then he'd also get them from this lady, some old black lady in DC. And Caitlin called Rishi over because Jeremy was in the hospital, and he was all burned up, and they were giving him like nothing compared to what he was used to taking. And Caitlin had done all of Jeremy's blues,
right,
sitting at home. So she was supposed to be bringing Jeremy his own stuff, but she had done them all. So Caitlin, I was new where she lived Jeremy's girlfriend for she called Rishi over to buy blues from Rishi. And Jeremy actually, I was on the phone with Jeremy at the hospital, and I was telling him like what was going on, and he was like, "Tell her absolutely do not give Rishi my money because Rishi apparently owed Jeremy money." Jesus Christ! They were like. I feel so bad. But I want to help. I feel bad, like, I guess ratting on people.
You ain't ratting on anybody.
I mean,
you're not ratting on anybody. You're helping us out. And whatever information you tell us in here is between us. I mean, we're not going to go out and say, "Oh, that's your snitch on me." That's not how it works. So you're not ratting on anybody. We just need you to be honest with us and give us the information that can help us hopefully lock whoever up who did this. So, I mean, you need to just come clean.
So, right? I mean, I am telling you everything. And that's how I met Rishi. And Jeremy, dumbass, he was on probation, and he had gotten a bunch of guns from somewhere, and that's why he was in jail. And that's when I met Rishi. That's how Rishi became my guy that I was getting stuff from.
Because your original guy's locked up now.
Yep. But Rishi now also we became actual. It sounds stupid, right? Because my wife was always saying that too. Like, Jeremy's not your friend; he's your fucking drug dealer. But Jeremy was also someone who knew my father-in-law, my wife from Ann.
Yeah. And your dad lives in Locust Grove?
Yeah. And so Jeremy got locked up, and Rishi and I mean, they're just a different breed of people. Jeremy was like thug life guy that never, he never had a real job. He was a smart guy, but he was gangsterish. He was always talking about fucking people up and being a badass. And
Rishi?
No, Jeremy. Rishi was super nice, and I always told Rishi, I was like, I wish I had met you instead of Jeremy. He's like, well, if you never met Jeremy, you would have never met me.
Right.
But Rishi, I mean, I don't know who. I don't know. I can't think. I've asked everyone I can think of. Like, I can talk to everyone. I don't know. I don't know who the guy is that he was getting shit from. Or how, like, much. I mean, he asked me for money a few times. Like,
Rishi,
yeah.
did you ever run stuff for him? Did you ever buy stuff for him to sell to other people?
It was always
For you? Did anybody ever ask you if you had a point of contact that you gave them Rishi's information?
So you said you don't know Ronald or Ron DeAngelis?
Oh, Ronnie.
That's what I'm talking
Fucking
about.
Ronnie. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Now we're on the right page.
Ronnie is my. I never knew his last name. It's funny. That's my father-in-law's whatever buddy that lives right down the street from my in-laws and owns the little flower shop. And his parents own Burt Gardens, whatever. But Ronnie, yeah. But Ronnie never met Rishi. Ronnie didn't.
So he owns a flower shop?
Yeah. It's right off of West Ox Road.
Who, Ronnie does?
Yeah.
What was the name of it?
It's like Burt. It's his parents own a big flower, whatever, shop type place. I think it's called Burt Garden Center or something. But Ronnie was my father-in-law. After I had surgery on my back, I had my L5S1 blown out, and I had surgery. My father-in-law is the one who gave me my first blue ever. And he's a software sales guy. I would go and help him do his expenses. And that's what got me fucked up and started. Like, actually.
Stay on track.
So that's how I know. That's how I know Ronnie. Ronnie lives literally.
Are you good friends with him?
We became friends through my father-in-law.
Are you good friends with him?
I mean, I would say we're.
Talk to him a lot?
Yeah, I mean, yes, no, on and off.
What did you have to say to him on the 29th at 9:23?
I don't remember. Probably asked him if he wanted anything.
Would he call you to get stuff?
We both ways.
So you would buy from Ronnie?
He has some old man who he knows that gets.
Right, but would you buy stuff from Ronnie?
Sometimes.
And would Ronnie buy from you?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah. I guess we were middlemaning it for each other.
So you would also sell to him?
Yeah, I middleman.
And the stuff you were selling to Ronnie, where were you getting it from?
Rishi.
So in turn, you were selling for Rishi.
But I didn't really like.
Was
A
it more?
lot
was
of times, I actually lied to Ronnie because I didn't want to give any of them up.
Right. Or was it more of, hey, I'm going to get some, you want any?
Sometimes, because it depended on how many. Like, I mean, Rishi he moved a lot of them fast to people and he'd always be like, there's so many left, there's whatever, I've got this many left, I've got that many left. So, the last bunch that I got from Rishi was that Sunday night.
Is that what the $600 was for?
That was what half of the $600 was for.
So you didn't loan him $600?
No, there was
You bought 300 worth.
There was.
Before you answer that question, I want you to be honest, because I can see you're stuttering.
I really can't.
So let's back up to the $600. You didn't loan Rishi. Let me finish. You didn't loan Rishi $600. You bought stuff from him that cost $600, correct?
No, there's both.
All right, let me hear it.
I had bought from him, and he asked to loan the money. So
how much money did you loan?
$600.
And how much did you buy stuff for?
$600.
So you gave him $1,200 on Sunday.
Yep.
So you bought 600 in blues. How many pills is that?
It's well.
If they're $45 a pop, like you said.
Yeah, he always fucked with me with prices too. They could be anywhere from $30 to $50, depending on how desperate he was for cash and how many of them he was doing himself.
How many pills did you get that night?
20.
20? All right, that sounds about right. All right, so you bought $600 worth, and then he borrowed another $600 from you. Okay.
So it was $1,200 altogether. $600, which was agreed for him to pay you back.
Yeah.
I want to clear something up real quick. At the bank, Carlos comes out, hands Rishi money. Do you see the money?
I saw him. Yeah, I saw him. Hand
How thick of a stack is it? Is it $3,000 worth? No. Okay, so you get back to Rishi's house, and that's where he gives you your $600, right? And you're saying he's got a stack of cash. What does that stack look like?
It's in his wallet.
Is it more than what Carlos handed him?
Yeah.
So Rishi already had cash.
Yeah.
Right.
He was.
We're trying to clear some things up. So that's why I'm asking what you saw at the bank as opposed to what happened at the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I mean, I have a fucked up memory too from.
So you think Carlos only gave him a little bit of money?
It was a couple $100, I think.
What did you and Caitlin talk about on the 29th? In the afternoon.
I don't remember.
Think about it.
really don't remember. I can't remember. I mean, if I was. Usually, if I was talking to Caitlin, it's usually about Xanax.
Would you buy Xanax from Rishi for Caitlin?
No.
She doesn't drive, right?
No, she doesn't drive.
So would she ever have you pick up stuff from Rishi?
No. She and I actually go to the same general practitioner doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'd give her. She doesn't have a car. I would drive her to her doctor's appointments. But I never made transactions between Rishi and Caitlin.
And you're saying that you never sort of pointed anybody else to Rishi to buy from him? So if somebody were to ask you, hey man, where are you getting your stuff from?
I mean, there's only like my wife and Ronnie that had any idea that I was doing. Like when my best friend found out, and my brother found out, and my wife found out. I mean, it was a shitstorm. But and then all this other bad shit happened.
Has Ronnie ever been out to Rishi's house? No, for the fact.
I mean, I never let him meet. Rishi never wanted to meet anyone else. He never.
Who's Stephanie?
Stephanie Mackay is my wife's mom, my mother-in-law.
That's your mother-in-law?
So after you left Rishi's house on Monday, you sent him a text from what you showed us on your phone. Why didn't you try to call him or reach out to him after you sent that text?
I mean, I was fucked up on there. He told me he was going to the hospital, and there's, the last couple of days there when his dad was in the hospital, he wasn't really reaching out, and we weren't talking. And I mean, there were times where literally we were texting each other and calling each other from the crack of dawn on, and then there were days where he'd disappear for a day or two, and I mean, I just assumed he was in the hospital with his dad, and I had, my couple days supply, so.
So you had 20 pills? How many you do at a time?
Just one.
One at a time. How many you do in a day?
3, 4.
3 or 4 a day.
But I also I go to Newbridge Spine Pain and take methadone and have a prescription for 10 milligram oxycodone, so.
You say you got a script for that?
Yeah.
10 milligram?
Yeah.
The pills you get from Rishi, how many milligrams are those?
30.
They're 30 milligrams?
And how long was that your typical buying from Rishi? Was 20 pills at a pop?
No, that was actually more than normal because I usually just. So, when my wife had originally found out that I spent our actual savings, I tried really hard to stop, but instead, I figured out that I could PayPal myself using my credit cards with 2 different PayPal accounts. And she'd set up so that she would get a bank alert if I went to the ATM. So I'd always go into the bank to the teller and figure that she didn't get a text alert. So I got laid off about exactly a week after Rishi got laid off. And my severance was like, it was my severance, barely severance. This is my last paycheck. And that's the only reason I even had like 20 is even $1,200 at once is like a big chunk of change out of my bank account. That's the only reason I had that amount of cash was because I had just gotten like $6,100 when I got laid off. And I was just like him. I was fucking blown away, bummed that I lost my job. And
So you stocked up because you knew you were going to be out?
Where did you cash your check at?
I didn't. It was direct deposit.
Where did you withdraw the $500 at?
The Sunday night, I withdrew it from the bank right next to that same Bank of America, right by Rishi's house.
On Sunday.
So you went over
The money that I loaned him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You took $1,200 out of the account.
No, I took $600 out of the ATM.
Did your wife get an alert?
She did. And she said, "Did you spend $600 on drugs?" And I said, "No, I was loaning it. And he was supposed to pay me back."
Mm-hmm. Where did you get the other $600 to buy your pills?
I had gotten it out of the bank.
What bank did you get?
Prior to that, the one by my house, because it opens at 9 o'clock in the morning. The one by his house opens
So
at
on
10
your
o'clock
way,
in the morning.
when did you do that? Monday?
Earlier in the week. I took out like $1,200. We could look at my phone at my bank thing. Or it was like right when I got laid off. I knew I was gonna be fucked for a couple of days, so I took out like might have been $1,500 so, at once.
So I guess I'm a little confused because from the 27th of January through the 29th, your phone contact with Rishi was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
The 29th rolls around, you got your stuff, you leave Rishi's house, and the last contact you have with him was at 12:49, and then there's been nothing since.
Well,
And you even said to yourself that, I mean, you would contact him religiously.
we did. But he was in the hospital. My dad had a stroke, and and then I saw on the news when Jeremy's mom actually.
What day did you see that on the news?
I didn't even actually see it. It was Rita, Jeremy's mom, was the one who told me. I think that was on Wednesday.
Who's Merck and Company Incorporated?
That's my credit card / that's who my mom worked for. So I had that's where my 401k was, and that's where I have a visa from.
And who's your bank?
Bank of America.
Who's Barclays Bank?
It's a loan. It's I have a lot of debt that I accrued. But my mom was helping me. Like, I don't know, I'm an asshole because my mother's always been like the best. Those moms that are like TV moms, she like calculated everything to the penny and was always there to help us.
Do you have a family that lives down here in Loudon?
My brother lives in Ashburn.
What's it?
Michael Welsh. But he doesn't. He's so mad at me.
So who, on the 29th, you talked to Caitlin several different times. Well, was that normal for you guys? Or was she looking to score something?
I think she was. I think that was her trying to get a ride to the doctor.
At night? At 6 o'clock at night?
So my wife hated Caitlin,
Yeah.
kind of.
Wow.
And so, I mean, I don't even think she ever met in person. But Caitlin would try to call me, and I'd ignore her a lot of times. And then sometimes I just I mean, Jared. I think that Jeremy. I think that's who was just calling my phone when we were.
Who did you get a call from when you sent Rishi that text? What company was it that called you?
K-Force.
And they called you, and then that's when you sent Rishi a text.
I talked to them early, like when I was picking up my kids, I got a call from a recruiter, and I was on the phone with them for a while, talking about whatever job description and jobs in general. And so I picked my kids up right around 12, 11:30, right, like. And when I got home,
What was your wife doing on the phone about the morning of the 29th?
she knew that I was going to get, to making sure that I was getting the money from Rishi.
Was that off the text?
Yeah, I mean, she called me at one point. I talked to her on the phone. And she said, make sure you get, she's like, just you need to pick up the kids for mom so that I don't want mom coming over here.
Let me ask you this. So we know that you were in the house on Monday?
Yeah.
This is another thing to rule you out too. Obviously, when you're in the house, so your fingerprints are going to show up in the house.
Yeah.
This is a DNA kit, and all it is we swab the inside of your mouth. It takes your DNA, and it pairs up the DNA and other things, and it's strictly used just for this case. Once this case is done, it gets tossed. It doesn't stay on record. Again, it's just to rule you out, to say that you didn't do anything in the house that hurt Rishi or his mom.
I think I'm fine with it.
Okay.
And I call my wife because she's like freaking. I mean, I think. She
So
said,
what the reason for this is we swab the house for DNA. Okay. We know you were in there. If we have yours and what we swab, if DNA comes up on that, we can say, okay, this is yours. This was another person we knew that was in the house. This is another person, but this this that we got from the house, we don't know who that belongs to. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is for.
I don't feel. I think I'm fine with it. I mean, I'm okay with it.
You good with it?
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to I don't know.
Dude, you're not being accused of anything.
We're not accusing you. What we're doing, we're using this as an elimination. That's what we're using it for. Okay. So right now, I think since you've come here and sat in the office with us and you're away from your wife, you're being a little more open. You're being a little more honest. Okay. And I'm comfortable with that. This is just another tool we use that we can tell our bosses 100%, look, we had nothing to do with Rishi getting killed. All right?
Hey, we're not accusing you of anything. It's just to help us with our investigation. What you said in the beginning, you want to help us investigate.
I mean, I do. So, like I said, can I?
Okay. Do you need to use a bathroom or anything? You hungry? Candy bar? You sure? Dude, there's a lot of dirt in this room now. I mean, you probably feel like
I
a
feel
big
it.
creepy
I
piece
do.
of poop, but you're not the worst that we've seen. And, you know, it's nothing, it doesn't, you know, we don't judge you. So just relax. Take a chill pill. You'll be all right. Like I said, I mean, you came here to talk to us. So, I mean, that's a huge thing for us.
I mean, I want it.
No, I know.
So,
Did you ever, whenever you were at Rishi's house and you would leave, would you ever see any, like, strange vehicles in the area? Anybody, like, snooping around the house? Anybody that he maybe said he was nervous about?
you know, the only guy is this guy that I would making sure he had his money to pay his guy.
But we don't know who that dude is. And he was good. He was talking to him on the phone.
Pretty sure it was him. I mean, he had stopped using his burner for
Right,
a
but
while when
on Monday, what phone was he on?
his burner and his iPhone. We went. I can't remember what day we went to the mall together when we got his new iPhone.
So he was using both phones on Monday. But that conversation that he had with this other person about the money and all that other stuff, that was on his burner phone.
Yeah, he had stopped using his burner. He didn't for when he got the real job at Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to slow his roll on the whole drug business, and we were both trying to kick the habit.
Did his mom have any idea what was going on?
I don't think so. She seemed so sweet. She seemed like a nice mom. One time we were talking about the Ronald McDonald Foundation setting up a thing for his brother
Mm-hmm.
to donate money to.
So you think whoever did this was pissed off at him for something?
No, I can't imagine anyone. I can't imagine anyone doing. Rishi was just nice. He was like such a fucking good guy. He just wasn't like one of these scumbags. Like,
Did he ever say anything about going into Manassas for anything?
no.
So as far as you know, he was getting his stuff from the Sterling area.
So,
You have any idea?
I mean, just from where he said we'd meet.
Have you bought any pills since this last batch you bought? No.
Oh. The remind myself that you said, I mean, you're for real, right? Like, I'm not getting other people in trouble. I'm, like, saying other things, right? Like,
No, man. I mean, we're here to
my friend Octavia, the one who,
Carlos?
no, the lady who I loaned money to for her rent.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
She has no car. Even she just gave me some of her shit from.
Off the ride.
Well, she knows all the crap that me getting laid off.
Did she know Lucian?
I never she never worked with like that. Like that. She's like a sweet little.
So when you were hanging out over at Lucian's house, did you say there was a lot of people that would come in and out? Would he sell right in front of you? Where did he keep the pills in?
Depended. Sometimes he'd have them just in his pocket. Sometimes he'd have them.
Like in a bottle? Or they're just free floating?
No, they're usually like in a bag, like a small, like mini Ziploc kind of bag. Like,
did you ever see any like gallon-sized bags, Ziploc bags? But he kept his pills typically in those small Ziploc baggies.
that's how he sold them in.
Did you ever go with him when he was selling other people? You were never around, like outside of his house when he made any transactions?
He almost always wanted people to come to him. It was rare for him to get him to come.
And you're almost 100% positive about this dude sleeping on Rishi's floor on Friday? When you were over at his house?
Friday?
Yeah, you told me initially that you went to Rishi's house on Friday.
He's got so many ideas.
And that there was a guy, a white male,
Yeah.
sleeping on the couch or the floor.
He was something like that guy was always sleeping like on the floor on what looked like Callie's bed.
Can you describe? You've seen him there before? You ever talked to him?
So what's up?
No name? Vehicle?
He's the one that I thought drove the white SUV.
So he was always sleeping on the floor? Did Rishi ever say who this dude was? Or what he was doing there?
I never really asked. He just said he was my boy. So the dude sleeping on the floor. He's like, oh, it's my boys. I do remember asking him one morning. I was outside smoking, and he came outside and he was leaving. I think that's the only time I ever actually talked to him. He said, "What's up?" And he asked what I did for a living. And I told him I was in IT. And I asked him what he did, and he said, he's like, oh, I don't really do anything. I'm like a handyman. He said, I don't have a real gig. I do like handyman work. Maybe that's the only time I ever conversed with him.
And you never, where does Rishi keep his money and stuff, do you know?
He was really secret about his bedroom area. Like, I probably only went into his bedroom with him twice out of the
Where was his bedroom?
million times. You know, like when you walk into his, like the basement is just sort of the back,
Uh-huh.
right? The bathroom was here and the bedroom was there.
That's where he kept his stuff?
I think that's where, I mean, usually whenever I went there, he'd run into the bedroom, usually for cash to give change. He'd always ask beforehand, like, what I wanted, or just say, like, we'd usually discuss it
Prior.
You know, so I know how much money to take out.
Did you take anything today? Blues?
No.
Okay. And you're honest, you're right, you haven't taken anything today.
I took methadone and I took a few of my 10. Like,
How long ago?
hours ago, earlier.
How many?
How many hours?
Pills.
How many pills? I took 3 10s. Like, so I don't know what time is it.
5.
Even
What, you took a methadone pill?
yeah,
Or,
the
or the drink?
my methadone is hard pills.
Okay. You don't need to go to the restroom, you said? When did you last eat?
Afternoon.
And you're not hungry? You want a candy bar?
No, I'm more just worried about my wife freaking out and being worried.
You want a cola?
Yeah. And I don't know, she's gonna think I'm an idiot for telling you everything. Or tell me that I should sit
Yeah,
like a
call.
lawyer.
What's the call for?
You want to call your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. You sure you don't want something to eat? It might be a little bit. I can get you a candy bar or something.
I'm okay.
All right. Well, if you change your mind, if you got to use the bathroom, let me know too. All right.
She
What?
No, they shall answer.
yeah, she doesn't like answering random numbers.
Don't blame her.
Salad muffin.
I'll be back. You good?
Honey, everything's okay. They want to do, and they want to do like a oral swab to rule me out. So I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with doing it, but I don't know if you told me I should. I don't know. I don't want you to freak out. I don't know. I mean, like I disclosed a lot of crap to them because they said that. I mean, it's for Risha and Filipino. Just do it. Okay. All right. She said it might. He said that it might be a while. So I don't. Can you order something? Can I? Like I'm just answer if I call on if a weird number calls or if this number calls back. Okay. All right. Love you. Thank you.
Yeah. Were you born in the United States? Your parents?
My mom is Chinese from Thailand.
Okay.
My dad met her there when he was in Vietnam for the Air Force.
When he was there?
In Vietnam for Air Force.
Oh, okay. So
He
you're,
was stationed in Thailand.
I'm going to say, so you're a military brat?
No, he got out early. He wasn't in the. He's actually he became a monk for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are your parents still, are they divorced or something?
No, they're still married. They're down together in Locust Grove.
So all I want to do is 2 Q-tips. I just go on the inside of both of your cheeks.
So like.
No,
Rollers.
you're fine. Is your mouth dry?
Yeah.
You can drink some water. I'm not kidding, dude. Your mouth is dry. Paintings.
It's fucking weird, but I'm actually. I'm glad that you had me come so I could get all of that shit out in the open to you. Still super nervous.
What's that?
I don't know. It's just. Super scared at first to come talk to you. Tell you everything that I just told you. But glad that you called me and asked me to. But also still scared that like I wouldn't want to fuck up Jeremy's mother's life or
Why would you mess up her life?
I don't know, because there's I should write this down. Jeremy had his mom go to the same doctor he went to.
Oh, she popping pills too?
She barely, no, she was like letting him sell them.
Oh, so she was going to get pills for him to sell.
Basically.
Gotcha.
And then since his dumbass got thrown in jail and wanted the like best lawyer and whatever.
Have you guys gone to visit him in jail?
I went to visit him with Caitlin first like, month that he went in. And he called me. I mean, we're actually like kind of like we were friends. I mean, it wasn't strictly a drug relationship because he knew my father-in-law.
I'm sure you don't want a candle. And you said you never had a burner phone? Do you know any of it? Was that the number that Rishi had, that his personal phone, for lack of better terms, and then that burner phone? Were those the only two numbers that you've ever had for him? Do you know if he had more than one burner phone? And do you know why?
I'm pretty sure he got that burner phone like right when I met him.
And do you know why he would? I guess, were you ever inquisitive to ask when he would say, "Hey man, just call me on my burner phone," or "Hey man, just call me on my personal phone"? Did you ever figure out what that was all about?
I mean,
Is he a paranoid dude?
sometimes he acted paranoid, but not. I wouldn't say he was always paranoid. He seemed like he. I don't know why he got, or if he had a burner phone before I met him, but when I first met him, his regular iPhone is the original number that he gave me, and we started talking through. And then he bought a burner phone, and that's when he started pretty much saying, talk to me through this phone. And then when he started working, he stopped using the burner phone really, and started hitting me up from his regular phone. But then his regular phone was fucked up. His iPhone, whatever he said, it was broken. But we went to the Apple stores and he got a new phone, a new iPhone.
Was he also using an iPod or an iPad?
Yeah, he was always using his iPad to check his stocks. That was his big thing that he was always doing.
What about Facebook Messenger and all that stuff?
I'm not sure. I wasn't a big Facebooker. The only person that I Facebook messaged me was Caitlin. She had no phone when she had a job. She had an iPad, but she was pretty much how she was communicating with people.
Mm-hmm.
And then she, I guess, started using Jeremy's phone when Jeremy went to jail.
Does Jeremy call you from jail?
I think that was him who was calling last when right before he took my phone.
Oh,
That Vienna number at 665.
662.
Yeah,
That was Jeremy.
I think that's the jail number. But apparently it costs a lot to call me since I'm a 540 number.
Oh, really?
Said it costs 50 cents a minute or something to talk to me.
50 cents a minute?
Yeah. So that's why, because he used to call me when he first went to jail. He used to call me often.
That's expensive.
Yeah. Thanks. Never find anything about services.
Mm-hmm. Do you know much about his sister-in-law or ex-sister-in-law?
I think you mentioned her Yeah, he mentioned it like once. Something about it. Her not liking them, or he didn't get to see his son or even his niece or nephew often because she wasn't very friendly to the family. We were talking about in-laws and stuff.
You never met her before? Were the roads icy?
They were a little scary coming out.
Which way did you come out? Toward?
Those back little scary road coming up.
Shreveville Road?
Yeah.
With the one-man bridge?
That was a little sketchy. I feel stupid that it took me that long to figure out that fucking Lonnie's name. That was Lonnie's name. Ronald Judd or whatever. I just like his last name.
The Angeles?
Yeah. Little things. That's weird. It's weird how small this world actually is. was he when you found him?
Say again?
Where was he?
We can't disclose any of that information. Why do you ask?
I just can't imagine. I can't stop thinking about it.
Where did you typically hang out downstairs when you were there?
That little coffee table thing.
Did you ever go in the back room where the wait set was? Well, you told me, I guess, that whenever he'd open that door, it smelled like weed.
Weed, yeah. Yeah. I went in there to get Callie once.
Is that where you kept her?
No, that's why. That door was always closed. And it was open when I got there. Callie went in there. And he said, we go grab Callie, get her. I went to grab her. She's sweet.
Where you said the
Yeah,
rest smelled like weed?
Yeah, I stopped smoking weed years ago. And when I went in there to get Callie, it reeked of.
Did you see it?
It just reeked of weed. Rear shoes always use some of those little e-cig type cheat cig pen things.
Or was it smoking THC oil?
Yeah, I guess. That's something he would do every Wednesday night. He'd go to DC to get weed. No. He asked me to go with the once, but I never went.
You said you never went with him to get the weed? Did you ever go to DC with him at all?
I had taken Jeremy and Caitlin to that old lady's house a couple times.
In DC? Who do you think would know who his supplier was?
I honestly thought that if anyone would know, it'd be Jeremy. Or Caitlin.
Was he that much closer to them than he was with her?
I mean, he knew them for years. Him and I got tight because he said I was one of the only, he's the only guy who was also an IT guy.
So you think Caitlin would know?
I thought she would know, but she said that she just remembered some scary looking guy with.
She burned out. So you're all burned out from drugs.
Usually.
So, I mean, if you were to call her and ask her who the supplier was, I should give you that.
I asked her. I asked if she knew. And she said she had no. She said she didn't. She did.
Who, Jeremy now?
I thought he would, but she's. I mean, I would have thought that if you talked to him, he would have told you.
Do you think Rishi's been using the same supplier for a while?
I think it was always, since I've known him, I think it was always the same guy. Huh.
Do you know if that guy's ever been to Rishi's house?
Not while I was there. I mean, he was always, whenever he told me, he was always going to meet him later at night.
That's what
Later meeting.
That's what Rishi told you?
Yeah,
That he would always meet the guy that night?
well, that's when he would call me, say, I just picked up. If you don't want to come all the way out to my house tomorrow or whatever, you can meet me at the hotel. And very occasionally, he would swing by my house, go the extra 10 minutes out of his way.
Oh, Rishi would stop by your house?
Yeah, very, very infrequently.
But you don't know where he was coming from. You met him at the hotel. You don't know if he was coming from Sterling or if he was coming from Fairfax. If he was coming from Fairfax, he probably would just swing by your house, right?
Yeah, because he said Friday was going like another, would be going a little out of his way. So he'd be going up 28. Was helping him. Save whatever 30 minutes of his time. He always wanted to get home, chill.
He what?
He always wanted to get home and chill. He didn't like running around.
You don't know what he was going to Home Depot for on Monday? Have you ever gone to Home Depot with him? And you didn't go with him on Monday, I assume.
No. I was gonna hang out with him, sure. Well, but my wife told me that she wanted me to get the kids.
Did you leave Rishi's house before he left Home Depot, or did you guys leave at the same time?
I left his house before.
Do you know if that's where he was going when he left his house? Or was he going to meet his guy?
From what he said in the car while we were waiting for Carlos, he changed his mind in the middle of it.
Who did?
Rishi changed his mind because we were first gonna go. He had some brown box.
Do you have a nickname for Rishi? Or do you call it Rishi?
On my phone?
No, like when you're talking about it. Or do you got a nickname or anything, or you just call it Rishi?
R-Dog. Rishi. R-Dog.
That's what you call him? Like when you're referring about.
No, I would say Rishi. I don't.
When would you say?
I don't think I would ever say. The only person that I ever said his name to was my wife.
What, Rishi?
Yeah. Like I would. Like to Ronnie, I don't even think I'd say. I'd just say my boy. probably I never get his name.
So you don't know what was in the box?
Didn't know. He said him and Carlos were talking about it. I was too focused on job hunting. I was scrolling through LinkedIn and Monster and Indeed.
Haven't found about it?
No, I blew my first tech firm interview.
See your phone. Your text. I texted you.
Yeah, I wrote it out.
You did?
Yeah. So when you refer to Rishi, or just said Rishi, you know, like, when the hell, you said something about Argon. When did you call him Argon?
That's how I had his.
Oh, you got him saved as Argon.
Yeah, his burner. He saved his Argon. His real phone is Rishi.
Okay. Yeah.
Just want to think of anything
Yeah.
random that pops in my head.
That Ronnie guy, what kind of stuff's he been into?
Ronnie is someone who I also like. So my father-in-law and I used to be very close, and this shit with my father came out. Basically, my brother told my best friend and this guy who gave me Mercedes that my dad had molested him when he was little. And my best friend told my wife and me. He was worried about our kids. And then we asked our kids, all this crap happened. When I talked to my father-in-law about it, he got really weird and distant on me. And I don't know why, but that's when Ronnie and I, for some reason, my father-in-law talked to Ronnie about it, and then Ronnie reached out to me. And that's how Ronnie and I became friends. We started talking at all just because of that. And he stopped. I don't know, father-in-law just got weird and stopped kind of being friends with him, talking crap about Ronnie and whatever.
I have to flip this. He's listening.
It was battling. But Ronnie's he's a nice guy too. He's not, well, from what I know. I know he didn't know Rishi.
Yeah.
It blew my mind that my old coworker was old high school friends with him, and my wife's best friend, whose sister was good friends with him in high school.
Does your wife work?
She's been a stay-at-home mom since our oldest son was born.
So what are you on a family right now?
Yeah, my mom's up.
You said no awkward jobs.
I've had a couple, so I've got 2 more. I have one tomorrow afternoon. There's so many, but there's so hard to find. My last job was, we moved to Herndon because I used to commute from Gainesville to Tyson's for 10 years. That sucked. And then I got a job at Marketing Tree. And we bought the house in Herndon. And my commute was 0.1 miles.
What were you doing at Orange?
I'm the manager of data center services. That's for like the oldest IT training companies.
None of these data centers on here are hiring.
Not like the role I am is like I'm kind of jack of all trades, network systems guy. I mean, I'm kind of being picky too. I need to. Something. I wish I saw the writing on the walls when I first joined that company. They cut my team in half. My boss quit a year into it, and he'd been there for like 12 years.
What company was that?
For Furniture.
What company did you just get laid off from?
Furniture.
And you were there for how many years?
2.
2
It
years?
would have been 2 March 1st.
Or were they just downsizing? Or was that what they told you?
I mean, that's what they did when I first joined. Is they cut pretty much one person from every department, and
They made pretty good money.
115.
A year? I'm surprised you're not better than any of these data centers out here.
They're so like they're hard to. They're all like Linux and Unix is one thing that I'm not proficient in. And that was actually something Rishi was skilled and better than me in.
Where did he get his knowledge of computers?
Well, he worked for I can't remember the company name. But it was when his brother, he said when his brother OD'd is when he stopped. He said he couldn't work anymore. And he felt responsible because this is so twisted. So Jeremy and his brother were both like going through withdrawal at the same time. And Jeremy kept blowing up Rishi, asking Rishi to go get him some dope. And I guess this is when. So Jeremy kept blowing him up, and Rishi told me that he finally caved and went. And he's the one who like gave Jeremy and his brother the dope, and he didn't know that his brother was shooting. I guess so. Like felt responsible for his brother's death.
Oh, so Rishi gave his brother the favorite dose? Does Rishi know that for sure?
He says he knows. He said this. He said I was one of the only people he said he never told this to, except his dad.
Where'd that happen at Fairfax?
I don't remember.
Does Jeremy know that?
I don't know.
Jeremy wasn't shooting it, or he was
He
snoring.
was snoring.
Where do you buy that stuff at?
I don't know. I have no idea where he.
Did Rishi do heroin?
Yeah, back then he did, but not recently. Not since I know. He said he stopped when his brother died.
And he switched over to pills? Did your wife abuse pills too?
Yeah, but she would all kinds of fucking horrible things happen. She was
Died? How long ago was that?
when we were in Centerville.
Did you have kids at the time?
Yeah, we just had our third son. They thought it was from drinking too much and having I'm allergic to alcohol, so I can't remember what